Well, I'm back again, working on another random project that I just decided to pick up on a whim. Figured I'd try and put this, or well, I mean, make something to put this on that. I'm pretty sure this is a considerably better pump than the one that was on it to begin with, which is right up sitting in there. 'Cause I plugged this in and checked it out, and it moves quite a bit of air, and has quite a bit of pressure to it. So I'm pretty happy with it. Longevity wise too, it should be better because it's an oiled pump. So as long as that doesn't ever get knocked over, which I don't plan on doing, but we'll take a couple things into account with it, should be okay. But what I'm going to do, I think, is I got this. It's not the sturdiest, but I'm going to use some of this and make a little bracket to kind of sit around this thing, so that I can mount the pump on there, and that's pretty easy, so to speak. One thing that I have been trying to figure out a solution that I like is the head unloader here. The way this one, I don't really like the way this works on this particular on-off switch, pressure switch, because it just kind of, it goes under here, which is fine. What I don't like is that it uses the flexible tubing, and I want to use copper, and I don't like these push fit fittings for copper. I don't want to do that. So what I've done is I've taken the plastic release push thing that they have in there and taken that out. What I'm going to do is find a fitting that I can thread into there, or maybe use an internal flare fitting or something. I gotta pick up the parts because I haven't figured out the solution just yet. But I'm gonna thread something in here that will let me put copper on it instead, because I don't like using the flexible tubing for that sort of thing. Especially because it's going to end up getting pretty hot regardless. Now I know that, like, going from here to here, because air isn't actively really moving through this, it's not going to get hot, so it would probably be okay, but I don't like it anyway. I'd prefer something a little more quote-unquote professional, in my opinion. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get something that I can thread into here, or in some other way allow me to hook up the copper tubing to it. So I'm going to get this cut, I guess, into a couple pieces, and I'll come back when I get that done. Forgot I had a handle for this thing, and I did plan for this, that's why it fits. It goes on there. It actually acts as a pretty good barrier to stop stuff from, like, if this were to fall over or something hits it. Kind of protects the gauges a bit and whatnot. So there's that I gotta put on there. I lost the bolts though, so I'm not sure where. I gotta find some bolts that fit in there, which I'm not sure that I have, but I'll take a look. Well, I've decided to go a different route here. I was originally going to do something like this and rivet it together and figure out some way to mount that, and instead what I've done is just kind of waste aluminum, because I got looking at that and I don't really like it. Never mind that I actually measured, and that's not, yeah, don't worry about that. But I didn't really like the way this was coming together. Have that there. I might come back and revisit this. I don't know. I might do something with the front of it, but I had a different idea. And what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to make like a little bracket kind of thing that I'm working on. That'll go here and mount to the compressor motor, which I've got. Well, I'm in the process of right now. A piece of bar aluminum like that, and then or flat flat aluminum. And then that way that'll kind of mount those bolts and hold the fan, the motor compressor on either side, basically. I still got a bit of shaping to do on this, and then what I'll do is probably drill and tap a hole here and over here just the same, and then bolt it to there like that. I kind of like that idea a bit better, and it's probably more sturdy. As for what I'm going to do with the front, I don't know, because of how it works on this thing. Like, this is great that there's two tabs here, but not on this side. So that's kind of why I'm doing the bracket thing, so that'll go there, kind of like that. And then same on the other side. And then the front, I don't know yet. I haven't really... I'm going to get the back mounted, and then I'll figure out what I want to do with the front first. So I'm going to get this shaped up. And probably get maybe a second one made. I was working on the contour. I'm just trying to make stuff fancier than it needs to be, I guess. I mean, I don't just want to cut a flat hunk and stick it in there. I like things to try and look a little bit more professional. Like, it's part of the reason I didn't want to do this with the whole rivet look, but I could have made that work, and you never would have seen it. And even this, you won't see. It's going to be underneath the guard, the cover, so... But I'll know it's there. Anyway, I'm going to get that... I'm going to get that shaped up and maybe the other one made, and I'll be back after that. I figured out what I'm going to do with the back mounts. Well, I mean, I got them made, so they're there. The holes are drilled, and it secures it to the existing tabs on the tank here at the back. To be honest, though, I'm at the next day. It's in the morning, and like, I've spent so much time on this, but to be fair, I spend a lot of time looking at stuff like this and just trying to figure out how I want to do things. I mean, I'll also play with different configurations and, figure out how best I want to do something the way I want to do it on the project, because, like, I don't want to cut these off. You know, what if I do want to use them at some point for something? So I did modify it a little. Took a chunk out of there so that these would sit in here properly. The front, I don't know. This is what I'm sitting here staring at now, playing with little bits of this and that, and trying to figure out how I want to secure the front of this thing to the tank, or these brackets, without cutting the brackets off. So I haven't really sorted that out yet, but I'll sit here for another 8-9 hours, pacing back and forth, doing other things, and then coming back and looking at it. Yeah, so I'm gonna sit here and look at this for a bit and come back when I have a bit better of a solution. I guess what I'm gonna do is put this on the outside of the handle like that. I didn't really want to do that. I wanted it on the inside so it would look a little nicer, but I mean, I'll figure out something to make it look a little nicer. But I actually did want to bring the compressor itself back just a little, even if it was just that much, because I think itself is fairly well balanced, but I think the motor's probably a bit heavier, so I wanted it a little more centered, or slightly off-centered, so it would kind of help balance out this on the tank. And then the front, since I'm going to have it back there like that, I guess I can make a tab. It's just a placeholder, but I'll make just a tab bracket that I can screw into here and bolt into there, and it'll secure that on the front. And then that just leaves me with the front right here, which there isn't much of anything. Can't see under here. There's nothing really there. So I'm not sure what I'll do about that, but I'll figure something out. yeah, that's how she's looking so far on there. For just, I don't even know, fun, I guess. Just keeps me busy, occupies my time. Plus, I think it would make an improvement. Like, the original idea for this was to be mobile around a large, spacious shop that was for RVs. So there was like, it was a huge space, and then in the back lot there was, you know, another massive lot of trailers and stuff back there, and sometimes they need their tires pumped up, but you go out there with a little like 5-gallon air tank and it's not really cutting it. You got to make multiple trips. The idea with this was that you could bring out a full 20-gallon tank and fill up the tire at least enough to move a trailer, and if that wasn't enough, there were outlets at least close by that this could be again plugged in and then charged and used that way. So it was a lot more convenient for that situation than it would have been just carrying a tank back and forth. And I'm just still running with it now. I'll just use it at home. Well, I got 3 out of 4 mounted. It's simple. I'm gonna trim off that edge there, and yeah, it's mounted there. 3 out of 4. I don't know how to do the 4th one. Back over there. What to do about this side, rather. I'll figure something out. It's only taken me 3 days to get this far, I do believe, and I have created tabs, aluminum tabs. It's taken me 3 days to make aluminum tabs. But that's all right. There's a number of other things going on. It's keeping me from focusing on, you know, the projects as a whole, but this is coming along, and I do actually want to get this finished. It's mostly just the mounting that's been a pain in the butt, really. Like I said, I've just spent a lot of time thinking about how I want to do it and what I want to do. I've gone through a couple different ideas, and I like this. It's all right. It'll do the job. Probably 3 of them would do the job. I don't think it was mounted much better on that compressor, actually, or on that tank. If I'm not mistaken, too, it was just mounted by like this little hole here and that little hole there, and that was the only thing. The screws were significantly smaller than that, so that was the only thing really mounting it to that tank. So it should definitely be okay with this, but I am going to put, you know, washers and lock washers on there, and make sure everything's, probably even some Loctite, just to make sure that everything can handle all the vibration and whatnot. I gotta fix this ugly mess. This is bugging me. Not the green on the cap, but this sloppy paint here. I am not a good painter, and there is, honest to God, what must be almost an entire can of green paint just on this spray paint, just on this cover. And it actually sat around for like a long time. We're talking probably over a year. Just sat because I wasn't doing anything with it. So the paint's good and cured, but when I was putting this sight glass in here, I hit the paint and chipped it with my wrench, and it really bothered me, and then I couldn't fix it. So now I've got to kind of fix that a little bit. And the reason that it was such a problem is because at one point I just gave up on covering the threads in there, and I didn't think it was going to be an issue, because, you know, I'm kind of hindsight 20/20 sometimes, and it is an issue. It's leaking, just the tiniest little leak, I do think, under there. Very, very, I'm not even sure, like, it's not even dripping, it's kind of just there, sort of. And I've wiped it up and it keeps coming back, so I'm going to take that out of there and clean the paint out of the threads. But first, before I do that, I'm gonna get all this mounted, secured, and cover back on and plumbed in. I was gonna put that cooler on there. I got a cooler back there under there in the box. I don't know how visible it is there if you can see that, but I was going to put that on there, and I'm not sure if I'm going to now. Hi, Winston. I got a visit from my big orange man. Want some bongs? Hey, buddy. So I'm not so sure if I'm going to do that now. Because, I mean, it seems, for what this is, I know it would be overkill anyway. That was the plan. I was going to build just like this ultimate overkill portable compressor. And I can probably achieve, you know, cooling that I need without putting that cooler on there and use that cooler for something else. I might put it on here. Who knows? Who knows? I don't know what I'm doing half the time. So one thing that's really stopping me from doing that mainly is that I don't have the ability to weld in here. So I can't weld anything to the tank. Because when I did have access to a shop, I was going to just weld some tabs on here to be able to mount it. But now I don't have the ability because I don't have access to a shop and I'm just in a bedroom. So the property management tends to get a little bit upset if you weld inside the apartment. I don't really know what that's all about, but you know, it's best not to upset them, I guess. So I'll think about something to do there. I'll come back when I got a solution. I actually managed to get that tightened without having to take everything out, which is pretty cool. So I can fix the paint on the cover. However, I was screwing this in by hand, mind you, and just broke. So now I've been screwing around and trying to get that out of there. I have extractors to get it out, and I've just been lazy because they're in one of those four things, and I don't want to lift all that shit off of there. So, since I'm here, I gotta take this cover off again, because now there's bits of metal in here. They're on the other side of a rubber barrier, so it's, you know, not really actually that big of a deal, to be honest, but big enough that I'm gonna get them the hell out of there, and might as well repaint the cover. Took the cover off, and yeah, there's a few bits in there. And yeah, they would have made their way over the barrier and into there, so I wanted to get that cleaned out of there properly. Yeah, so I'm surprised no oil actually poured out of there when I took this cover off. But let me see what's going to happen here. See if I can do this. This is going to be a catastrophe. Or not. Alright, that wasn't so bad. Now I'm going to drain that out and I guess get this fixed and prepped or something for paint. Well, this turned into a mess. This brass or whatever it is that vent cover was made out of, just I have extractors. Like, I'm not, and every one I tried, it didn't grip, and it just kind of kept chewing everything up. No matter how careful I was, it just kept chewing this up. So I'm now going to have to, I guess I'm going to take a Dremel and just kind of file it out there. It looks bad, but if you're looking here, the threads aren't damaged, I don't think. It's okay. I don't have a tap that big, but I'll probably clean up the threads and find some kind of different vent cover filter thing, and then I guess it'll give me an opportunity to touch up the paint so this doesn't look so ugly. I mean, not that it matters, it's going to take abuse, but I like to do things a particular way. That's why this has like 45 coats of paint on it, and like, you can see right here where it's chipped off, and that's probably one of the spots where it's not even the thickest, so I just kept hitting it with paint and hitting it with paint and hitting it with paint. I'm a terrible painter, I really am. So I'm gonna get this thing dremeled out of there, I guess. I finally got that vent plug cap thing filter out of there, and my god, that was a task. Like, it did not want to come out. It wasn't even in tight, but it didn't want to come out, and I had to grind it down right to the threads, and even then it still wouldn't come out. Like, you know, I've done it before with other stuff, and if you have to grind it down to the threads, usually the threads at that point will then easily be able to kind of be unthreaded with a pick or something, but nope, not this time. That stuff had to be broken out of there. But I did get it, you know, out, cleaned up, didn't damage the threads, and I found out it's a 3/8 fitting of some kind. This filter fits in there, and that also fits in a 3/8 fitting, even though it's not a pipe thread. I'm not really sure what it is, but so I'll find something that's like 3/8. I can make a vent filter out of there for that. But I got it all filled up with oil and even repainted. Well, touched up anyway, and that looks pretty nice. I don't care about that there. That's going to end up being covered up with whatever, and you know, I just wanted it to look nice before I actually end up using it and abusing it or whatever. And so that's all done there, and I can pretty much, I got a fitting up here now that I can just run a nice straight, well, sort of straight, at least a maximum flow with the angle. Instead of having it angled down, I can just make nice smooth transitions over there. What I am still stuck on is this goddamn unloader valve. And the only reason for that, you know what, this has got to be a trait of the TISM, because like I'm just doing this being particular about it is all, really. I want it done my way, a particular way, and I'm not really going to be happy until I figure out my solution that works for me for this. I don't really want to disassemble all this stuff, and I like that pressure switch and everything, the way it's kind of set up. It works really well for this application, and I don't really want to change it. So I will, and there's Persephone back there. Got to explore and examine everything. But I don't want to change that pressure switch, and it's just that the way they did this, it's just kind of a like twist and lock kind of thing that comes out the bottom, so there's no real, I don't think I can find anything that would like be like this but different. And I don't have a 3D printer to print a part, and I don't have money to pay a place like one of the many places to 3D print for me, so I got to work with what I have here, and I just want to figure out some kind of solution that I'm happy with. You know, that kind of fits in there. I really don't want to do something like use epoxy to try and hold something like this in, even though it probably would work. That just seems like such a not a good solution. Just because I don't really like that. I don't know, maybe. Maybe I could find some way to seal it up and, you know, just do the same thing, drill the hole through there and use the same support. And as I'm talking about this now, I'm starting to get ideas, because I didn't really think about that before. The only thing that's really sealing this up is, you know, just a little gasket in there. Sorry, O-ring, just an O-ring in there. Intermission moment, just for the cat. Weird creature, that one. So I don't know, maybe I will do something like that. I would also prefer kind of an angled fitting instead of coming straight out there. Or like that, so that it's hard to do with one hand. Yeah, I would prefer well, I want to, I guess, maybe put an elbow on there so I can go 2 elbows and just have the pipes as straight as possible. And because this is just the unloader, so it's not really in need of any smooth, efficient bends or anything like that. So, but yeah, I've got this back on here now, and just got to get some different bolts for the cover. Actually, doesn't look too bad. And I was looking at the specs that are on, well, the tank right here. The Husky compressor that I took off is 4 SCFM at 90 psi. The one that I took, this one that I took off of here, is only 3.5 SCFM. But if I'm being honest, I don't know how much Husky would have inflated that. I mean, I'm not worried about that 0.5 CFM difference. And since it was a non-oil pump, they probably just have it moving faster, because this does have a larger bore on it. And I'm pretty sure that if I just, have a nice smooth pipe, it would probably be, maybe 4 SCFM. But that doesn't even really matter because I'm not doing anything with this. It's going to require that difference. So, that's just picking things apart, really. But that is where I'm at the moment. And one thing I do want to do is move one of these. Yeah, I got to make an adjustment to the handle there because there's lots of space there between the water separator, but there's very little there. So I got to maybe bend the handles a bit, which is okay. But so far, this is coming along pretty well for me, I think. I'm pretty happy with where I'm at now. I haven't got another bracket mount over there yet. I'll worry about that after I get some other things finished, because it's not that important. And the fact of the matter is, it would probably work just fine with the 3 bolts. I mean, or the 3 mounting points. I don't really see much of a problem with that. I did get really lucky here though, because I didn't really consider the size of the bolt head when I measured the aluminum tab that I made, and I got really lucky in that goes in there and it just fits perfectly to be able to turn it with a wrench. I think I used a wrench. I don't think I used a nut driver on it, but yeah, I was able to get that tight. That's threaded right there, so they're all secure. And I'm gonna add nuts to them anyway, except that one because I can't. I'll probably cut that shorter though, because it's visible, or do something to make it look a little nicer somehow. Got to get some different bolts for here because they actually interfere, and I thought that would be an issue. So I mean, it's not that big of a deal. Just cut the bolt shorter if I have to. It's not even a problem. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I gotta, I guess, wire this up. But I'm really trying to figure out this now, is where I'm at, mostly trying to sort out the how I want to do this, or what kind of fitting or whatever I want to put in there. And like I said, now that I mention it, I might do something to seal that up and then use that same roll pin kind of thing with a slot drilled through there to be able to put 1/4-inch copper tubing on it. So I'm gonna have to go out and look at some parts and pieces and see if I can find something, or if I have something that I like a little bit better. But I'll go back to the video when I've got that. Got it kind of plumbed now, except for the unloader part of it, of course, still. But I think I have an idea how I'm going to do that now anyway, so I wish I could have done a better job on this, but it is what it is, and I'll fix it later if necessary, because I would like it to be nice and straight. But I guess it's okay. That's just being too particular, I suppose. So I pretty much just got to wire it up and do the unloader valve thing, and then I think it's basically ready to go and use. One of the plans here is still, and I have a check valve on there. Oh, can't see it. Check valve back there on that cross piece, wherever it went there, on that cross piece. And what I'm gonna do is hook up this hose so it hangs down here. Like I've got a hose. This was for filling the tank, and I got this attachment so that it could be filled from like a larger shop air source, which was the original plan. Or it could be filled from a tire inflator if necessary in a pinch, like it's kind of an emergency type situation, I guess, or it's just an option to have it there. So that's what I'm going to put on there, and then that's about it, I guess, really, for after I get the unloader. Then she's ready to use, I believe. So I'm going to get this unloader sorted, and then get the video all wrapped up and fire up the compressor for the first time. So I decided to come out to Princess Auto and look through, well, a bunch of fittings. I think I found something I can use as a solution anyway. A couple fittings. I was hoping to find maybe the right kind of flare fitting though, or a 45, because I don't really want to put the brass and the stainless together because of cathodic corrosion. So I don't know, I gotta maybe still see if I can find some, because there's a lot of fittings here. But otherwise, I'm fairly happy with that for the most part, though I would like a 45. Let me take a look around the rest of the store here, though. Okay, this is awesome. A 5-drawer tool set for $119. Check this out. Not sure what it comes with in there, probably hardware, but a couple of drawers. This is awesome. I would probably buy that if I had the money right now. Let's find some wild stuff out here in the surplus section, man. There's USB soldering iron. I have doubts about how well it would work, to be honest. But lots of other stuff in the surplus section. Lots of pliers. $10 a set. $3.49 for the adjustable wrenches. It's not too bad. Papa G driving school. Get learned by Papa G. Well, I found a workable solution for this part anyway. This will actually kind of thread in here, so I'll thread that in like this, and then kind of seal it with something, and then I'll cut a little hole through there so I can put the pin back through there, and it should stay sealed and work, and make this a little bit shorter maybe in some way. And I thought I had a workable solution for this, because it broke off so flush. I just kind of cleaned it up, and I was gonna thread it and just put this plastic piece in there and screw it on in. But as it turns out, even though this fits nicely into I know it's not a pipe thread because it's not tapered, and as much as this fits nicely into a 3/8 pipe thread, and like snugly too, it is not, but a 3/8 pipe thread will not fit into that hole. So I gotta come up with a different solution, because I thought that would work, but it does not. So that's really not the most important thing right now anyway. I want to get this done, and then I can worry about that piece of crap later. So let me get this kind of sorted out here and come back when I get her squared away. Well, I've come up with a solution I'm actually pretty happy with now. I found this fitting, which lets me just put a flare on there. So what I've done is taken some JB Weld plastic bonder and use that to seal this up, as well as kind of hold it in there a little bit. And I did kind of carve out a channel in the fitting, so that I put plastic bonder through the hole too, so it'll actually kind of hold in there. I don't have any doubt that for what it's doing, it'll hold up fine. And it kind of looks like it was almost supposed to be that way once I clean up the markings on it and just kind of clean it up a little bit. But that'll let me hook up that, which I've got some grommets in there. Not the nicest bending job, but it'll do. And then I'll have the unloader hooked up. And I did hook up this hose here just to kind of show what the plan was, except that is a real pain in the butt. So I'm going to put that down. And then one other thing that I want to do is maybe hook up this auto drain valve that I got. But I don't know how I want to approach that, and I'm not going to worry about that right now. I just want to get the compressor working, because what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to tee off of this line, which is supposed to be the flexible line that I'm not using. So that isn't really an option. Mr. Winston's come to say hello again and explore. If I can get an adapter, like a T fitting that'll do 3/8, I might tap off of this line instead, because effectively it'll be the same thing, and then I can hook up the auto drain valve so it'll automatically drain moisture there from the tank, and these are auto draining as well when there's no pressure, so when the tank's pressurized it'll push those down, and when there's no pressure it'll let that up and let any moisture out of there. So that's how far I've come so far right now. Yeah, so I'm just waiting for this to basically fully cure, which will still take a little bit before I start putting any force on it. Trying to get the fitting or the pipe bent the right way, because I gotta shove that up in there like that somewhere somehow. It does fit. Okay, well, this is not terribly important at the moment because I can't see what I'm doing, but there's your problem. Yeah, see, so that twists right in there like that, and then I'll have that hooked up to there. I'm probably gonna have to do something about this, because I don't think the compressor motor will sit. I don't think the compressor will sit on this without either being up higher or just having some kind of different fitting. But that's okay, because like I said, it's just a check valve right there, so no air is going to come out of there, and I can put a cap on it in the meantime. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I'll get back after I get everything put back together here, after that's cured a little bit, and see if I can finally get this project wrapped up. I'm still looking for a solution for this stupid thing, but it's not that important. So things went south with that copper pipe so badly. I wrestled with it and couldn't get it bent into spot, and ended up breaking the little tab off of this to twist lock it into place. But that's okay, because I did actually I think come up with a solution here that I'm happy with and working towards now. This little hose came off of the compressor and is actually for this elbow, and it's like a flare fitting in there, and I put an adapter on the end here so I can put the copper tubing on it. But because it's also a flare fit on this side, give me a second, I gotta get this out of here. Can't do it with one hand. So, because this is like a type of flare fitting or tapered fit, it has to actually seal against that to make a seal. And this is pipe thread, so it doesn't quite fit in here because this is tapered. But what I've done is shove an O-ring in there, which actually might work because it doesn't seem to want to go any further. And I feel pretty confident that when it's under pressure, it's not going to like blow the O-ring out of the way and start leaking. But I mean, I won't know until I try it, right? So I'm gonna finish getting this abomination assembled and see if I can get back to actually getting this thing assembled and usable. I swear to God, I'm my own worst enemy sometimes. Actually, I'm usually my own worst enemy. So I'd come up with a solution that I thought would be pretty cool. I was just gonna drill a little hole right there to hold the unloader valve in. And I got the hole drilled, but like without any issue. And then as soon as I went to go touch it, and it literally like fell apart just by my hand. Like I just touched it and it fell apart. So now that is broken. And I don't know what I'm gonna do about that. I'm gonna find some way to keep this unloader in there and have it look professional and functional and work. But honestly, for right now, I'm gonna leave the video right here because I just want to get the video out there, and I'm gonna keep working on this, but you know, the rest of it's gonna be a part 2 of the video until I get this damn thing done. So, you know, I appreciate the support. If you guys have, if you haven't subscribed, please do. It really helps. You know, honestly, I truly hope that someday I can not be in a bedroom, and maybe someday it'll be a shop. I don't know. You know, it's what I got. It's what I can afford, and it's what I'm working with. I'm sure there's a ton of solutions to all of my problems, but I just don't have the resources really. So I'm just working with what I got here, and that's why it would really help if you guys, if you're watching this video, if you could, you know, subscribe to the channel and like the video, like the videos, share them, anything for the algorithm to help out the small guys, because this is what I'm working with. This is my workspace, and I'd really appreciate it. Really appreciate any of the help. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in part 2 of this video.